Yes, we like.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Charles-André Tessier. I'm chair of the board of directors of Tenet Fintech Group, Inc. I'm pleased to welcome you to this annual general and special meeting of the shareholders, and I thank you for your presence. This meeting is being held virtually. From the company, we are joined by Johnson Joseph, President and CEO and member of the board, Jean Landreville, our Chief Financial Officer, and Mark Patterson, the company's General Counsel and Secretary. We are also pleased to be joined virtually by Nancy Wolf, Chartered Professional Accountant and representative of Raymond Chabot Grant Thornton, our auditor. We are equally pleased to have with us Mark Swallenberg, Director of MZ North America with MZ Group, who will serve as moderator as to any question by a shareholder during this meeting. We ask that your questions be limited to the business of the meeting on the approved agenda. Immediately following meeting, Mr. Joseph will provide a corporate update. While today's meeting will be mainly in English, we invite you to intervene or ask your questions in the language of your choice. Comme vous l'avez constaté, nous nous adressons à l'Assemblée ce matin en anglais. Toutefois, nous vous invitons à intervenir et à poser des questions dans la langue de votre choix. Notice of meeting and scrutineers. This annual general and special shareholders meeting is open and will now briefly comment on the procedures, and I will appoint scrutineers for this meeting. I will ask Isabelle Vachon and Bertrand Gély from TSX Trust to act as scrutineers of this meeting. For your information, the scrutineers are here to tabulate the votes by proxy. As stipulated in the meeting notice, we will not be able to accept internet-based votes for today's proposition. Only the proxies already received shall be accepted for today's voting procedures. In addition, all the proxies received authorize me to represent the shareholders for today's vote. I will therefore state the result of the vote for each of the proposals in order to formalize each of the results to the proposal. I have received confirmation that a notice of meeting and the proxy form has been sent on May 31st, 2022. To the shareholders of record of the corporation as of May 16, 2022. I also received confirmation that a management proxy circular was made available to the shareholders of record as of May 31st, 2022. Quorum. Before the start of the meeting, I was advised by the scrutineers that we have a quorum based on the proxies then received. The scrutineers' report confirmed that there are 17,338,311 shares, representing 17.55% of the 98,794,683 shares issued and outstanding that have been voted. I will ask our secretary, Mr. Mark Patterson, to attach a copy of the scrutineers' report to the minutes of this meeting. In accordance with the corporate bylaws, two shareholders present in person or represented by proxy and representing not less than 5% of the issued and outstanding shares entitled to vote shall constitute a quorum. I therefore declare that this meeting has been properly convened to address to the business of the day. Voting instruction. I remind listeners that voting for this meeting has already occurred by way of proxy. Business of the day. We can now address the business of the meeting. If any person wishes to ask questions or comment relating to the business of the meeting, you can signal your interest to ask a question by using the function Raise Hand available using the online platform meeting controls. I ask that you then introduce yourself and confirm that you are a current shareholder of the company. The moderator will confirm your position within the speaking queue. We have 4 items on the agenda: the election of the directors, the appointment of the independent auditor, the adoption of the Omnibus incentive plan, and the adjournment of the meeting. Item 1, election of directors. Please be informed that Michael Pessner informed the company on June 29 that he has resigned as a director of the company for personal reasons and will therefore not seek re-election. Accordingly, Mr. Pessner is hereby removed from the list of individuals proposed for election as directors. The following individuals are proposed for election as directors of the company: Mark Dumas, Johnson Joseph, Yun Q, and myself, Charles-André Tessier. You will find more information on each candidate in the management proxy circular. Are there any questions or comments regarding this item?
We don't have any questions or comments.
Thank you, Mark. We will now hold a vote for each candidate. For Mark Dumas, I will now ask that a motion be put forth calling for his election to hold office until the next annual shareholders meeting or until his successor is appointed.
Mr. Chairman, Kathy Hume, a shareholder. I propose that the motion be adopted.
Thank you. Can I have someone to second the motion?
I, Thomas Doe, second the motion.
Thank you. As the motion has been properly put forth, Mr. Secretary, the result, please, of the vote.
I confirm that we have 16,953,181 votes for, which represents 99.11% of the votes cast.
I declare the resolution duly carried. Now for Johnson Joseph, I will ask now that a motion be put forth calling for his election to hold office until the next annual shareholders meeting or until his successor is appointed.
Mr. Chairman, Kathy Hume, I propose that the motion be adopted.
Thank you. Can I have someone to second the motion?
Mr. Chairman, Thomas Doe, I second the motion.
Thank you. As the motion has been properly put forth, Mr. Patterson, the results, please.
I confirm that we have 17,032,803 votes for, which represents 99.57% of the votes cast.
I declare, therefore, the resolution duly carried. For Yun Q, I will now ask that the motion be put forth calling for his election to hold office until the next annual shareholders meeting or until his successor is appointed.
Mr. Chairman, Kathy Hume, I propose that the motion be adopted.
Thank you. Can I have someone to second the motion?
Mr. Chairman, Thomas Doe, I second the motion.
Thank you. As the motion has been properly put forth, the results of the vote are:
I confirm that we have 17,045,817 votes for, representing 99.65% of the votes cast.
I declare the resolution duly carried. At last, for myself, Charles-André Tessier, I will now ask that a motion be put forth calling for my election to hold office until the next annual shareholders meeting or until my successor is appointed.
Mr. Chairman, Kathy Hume, I propose that that motion be adopted.
Thank you. Can I have someone to second the motion?
Mr. Chairman, Thomas Doe, I second the motion.
Thank you. Has the motion has been properly put forth? The results, please, Mr. Secretary.
Yes, I confirm that we have 16,941,550 votes for, representing 99.04% of the votes cast.
Thank you. I declare the resolution duly carried. Item 2 of the agenda, appointment of the independent auditor. We will now proceed with the appointment of the independent auditor. Are there any questions or comments regarding this item?
We do not have any questions or comments.
Thank you. Can I have a motion to nominate Raymond Chabot Grant Thornton as independent auditor of the corporation to hold office until the next annual shareholders meeting or until his successor is appointed?
Mr. Chairman, Kathy Hume, I propose the motion be adopted.
Thank you. Can I have someone to second the motion?
Mr. Chairman, Thomas Doe, I second the motion.
Thank you. As the motion has been properly put forth, Mr. Secretary, what are the results of the votes?
I confirm that we have 17,299,826 votes for, which represents 99.78% of the votes cast.
Thank you. I declare the resolution duly carried. Now, item 3, adoption of the Omnibus Incentive Plan. We will now proceed with the resolution approving the adoption of the Omnibus Incentive Plan. Are there any questions or comments regarding this item?
We do not have any questions or comments.
Thank you. Can I have a motion to approve the following resolution? Mark, please, can you read?
Sure. Yes, Mr. Chairman. It is resolved that the Omnibus Incentive Plan of the company, a draft of which has been made available to the shareholders for their review, be and is hereby approved. That the company is hereby authorized to adopt the plan, subject to any amendments and modifications as the board, in its sole discretion, may approve from time to time, and that any one or more director or officer of the company is hereby authorized for and on behalf and in the name of the company to execute and deliver any documents and instruments, and to do or cause to be done all such other acts and things as in the opinion of such director or officer may be necessary, desirable, or useful for the purpose of giving effect to the foregoing resolutions and the matters authorized thereby. Such determination to be conclusively evidenced by the execution and delivery of such document, agreement, or instrument, or the doing of any such act or thing.
Mr. Chairman, Kathy Hume, I propose the motion be adopted.
Thank you. Can I have someone to second the motion?
Mr. Chairman, Thomas Doe, I second the motion.
Thank you. As the motion has been properly put forth, Mr. Secretary, can you give us the result of the votes?
I confirm that we have 16,869,904 votes for, representing 98.62% of the votes cast.
I declare the resolutions duly carried. Fourth item, close of the meeting. Having gone through the business of the day, I would like to end the meeting and move to the presentation prepared by Mr. Johnson Joseph. Can I have a motion calling for the end of the meeting?
Mr. Chairman, Kathy Hume, I propose calling to the end of the meeting.
Thank you. Can I have someone to second the motion?
Mr. Chairman, Thomas Doe, I second the motion.
Thank you. In virtue of the proxies which have been granted to me, I declare the meeting closed, and once again, I thank you for your presence and hope to see you again next year. I now invite Johnson Joseph to make his presentation. Thank you all.
Thank you, Charles, and good morning, everyone. I would normally do a short presentation at this time, but today I'd rather take this opportunity to address some concerns that were brought to my attention related to the company's recent stock price performance. First, let me start by saying that my investment portfolio has taken a beating just like every other Tenet investor. So I totally understand the frustration that some of you may be feeling today. But what's happened to our stock price is not something that's unique to Tenet. The fact is that virtually every tech company is way down from its 52-week highs, and it doesn't matter if you're a small cap or a large cap company. For example, Apple is down 24%, Amazon 42%, Facebook 57%, Shopify down 81%, Lightspeed Commerce 83%, Mogo Finance 89%, Upstart Holding 92% down. I could go on, but these are all fantastic companies. The point is that what we're experiencing right now is not just what we're experiencing right now is just a very strong headwind that the entire tech sector is going through. And I have no doubt about it that we'll get through it. Now, that being said, I'd also like to share with you why I'm still very excited about what we expect to happen in 2022, and maybe remind you of why you perhaps invested in Tenet in the first place. Now, one of the things that I love the most about what we're doing is that our business model did not exist before we came up with it. For an investor, this can be both scary and exciting. When you're bold enough to try to do something that hasn't been done before, you either make it big or you fall flat on your face. I think so far, I don't think we're falling flat on our faces. Sure, there have been a few bumps along the way, but if you look at the big picture, the fundamentals of our business have never been stronger. I continue to say that we're in a better position today than we were 6 months ago, and we'll be in an even better position 6 months from now. Although I'm very proud of what we've done so far in China, and there's still plenty left to do in China, I really want our shareholders to start paying attention to what we're about to do outside of China. For those who are concerned about our revenue model outside of China, that the model hasn't been proven, well, just tell yourselves that our revenue model in China wasn't proven when we launched the hub back in 2018. We're the same management team that took an unproven business model from $1 million in revenue to over $100 million in revenue in less than 3 years. Actually, I think we have a stronger team today than we did 3 years ago. Now, what we've done in China is we've proven that the businesses and financial institutions that have we've proven that the businesses and the financial institutions have bought into the concept of the business club, which again was totally new when we brought it to China. And now what we're doing is we're in the process of confirming the same thing here in Canada. Listen, instead of spending the next hour talking your ears off about what we're doing, we've worked very, very hard on an investor presentation to explain all of this to you. The presentation is currently available on our website. So for those of you who haven't done so already, I would strongly recommend that you download the presentation and take the time to read it carefully. I think you'll find a lot of answers to some of your questions, and you'll also understand why we're so excited about Tenet and maybe rediscover why you invested in the company in the first place. And if you still have questions after going through the presentation, just continue to do what you're doing. Just reach out to Kathy or Mark, and if they're not able to answer your questions, then they'll reach out to me or somebody else within the organization, and we will get back to you with the answers, as we have done over the last couple of years and will continue to do. Now, before I wrap things up for today, I just want to leave you with a few items to be on the lookout for in 2022. Number one, the financing. We're working on a prospectus financing to make sure that we have the capital we need in order to continue to execute our business plan. Despite the current market conditions, we don't anticipate having any issues raising the funds we need. We're planning to make an announcement to that effect in the coming days or weeks. So stay tuned for that. Number two, listing on senior exchanges. I can tell you that we check all of the boxes for the senior exchanges that we plan on being listed on. Ideally, we would like to uplist. We would like the uplist to be concurrent with the closing of the prospectus offering. But unfortunately, we can't confirm whether that will happen or not. We're doing everything in our power to work in parallel so that that happens, but we can't guarantee that that will happen. So we may close the financing and then have the uplist completed weeks or maybe a month later. But ideally, again, what we'd like to do is to have the financing closed and for us to be listed on a senior exchange. Number three, and finally, the launch of our hub in Canada. Now, we can't officially disclose the date yet, but it'll definitely be in time for us to generate our first revenue in Canada before the end of this year. That's something that we've said in the past, and it's something that we're doing everything in our power to make sure it happens. We're working very hard behind the scenes. Again, we have a fantastic management and executive team here in Canada. We've approached businesses, associations, trade commissions, financial institutions. There's a lot of work being done in the background so that we have a successful launch here in Canada before the end of this year. So once again, please stay tuned for that. You will see announcements to that effect in the coming weeks and months. Now, ladies and gentlemen, that's all I had for today. So on behalf of myself and everyone at Tenet, I want to thank you for attending our AGM and for your continued support. Happy Canada Day and happy 4th of July to our friends in the US. Thank you.